played with me in the past, but like, I don't know, because my name on everything is Tiff Toxic. Like, I don't have any like other names I go by, so it's very easy to find me on the internet. They all kind of live together. So.
On the interwebs.
Yeah.
On interweb. Talking about the interweb.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He'll just get angry and shitty when you beat him all the time.
All right.
Like most guys do anyway.
Yeah.
Where's Jen? She can at least make runs for us, right?
Oh no, she gonna run away. She's with the turtle. She ran away with the turtle.
She heard me. She heard me, I think.
The turtle? Like Ron Jeremy's the hedgehog, she's with the turtle?
No, please, no.
I didn't mean it in a sexual way. Why'd you have to take it that way?
She's on the chat, though.
We can just text her where it's like, Jen, bring me a beer, please.
Woman, beer me.
Well, the problem is there's a delay, so she won't hear it for another couple, and now.
And yeah,
are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Going? All right, hey.
Oh, I wouldn't have said those things about Jen then if we were with the turtle.
Well, that's all fun and games. Welcome to episode 20 of RedBeard Live with the lovely Tiff Toxics. And hello, and of course, our good friend Mikey C.
Why am I not lovely?
In the place to be.
Why am I not lovely?
You're
Mikey
lovely.
C.
I think you're lovely.
That's you projecting.
Can you hear
I didn't
us?
say you weren't lovely. How's the sound?
Oh, I muted this.
You
guys
muted
hear
me.
us?
Oh.
No, I
Can you hear
muted
us?
this.
You
so I
heard
could-
Neutered?
Muted.
Muted.
No, I'm on the chat on my phone, and I
She
muted.
muted her computer.
Muted.
I need to get into my my notes
Yeah,
over
we're
here.
doing some
I just want to hurt it.
mic check. Just test. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Good. All right.
So are we on the YouTube strain or no?
We should be.
All right.
Yep. The YouTubes and the Twitch. I can hear you pretty good.
Maybe it's just taking a minute to show
Right.
up over here.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. So a lot of topics to talk about. There's a lot of movie news, but I think the most important thing that we want to talk about is the SNES Classic, because we haven't had a chance to talk about that. I've been meaning to do some RedBeard reacts this week, but I've fallen off, kind of got busy at like my job IRL in real life. So I didn't get a
IRL
chance.
always gets in the way.
IRL always, it does. It certainly does. So the SNES Classic was announced to not really anybody's surprise because it was rumored, right? It's been rumored for a while.
Yeah.
A couple months.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
then 2 days ago there was a secret GameStop managers meeting that confirmed it.
Which I'm not
And
aware.
then I was like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
And then Nintendo was like, surprise, here it is.
Yeah. So the SNES Classic is announced, but everyone's super hyped, and for good reason. I will say I missed out on getting an NES Classic because my opinion was a lot of those games were the games that I wanted to play. I could play on my 3DS
Yeah.
or whenever they bring it to a virtual console for the Nintendo Switch. And I'm thinking now that they've announced the SNES Classic is that they haven't announced anything for the virtual console for the Switch because they keep selling these units.
Yeah.
And they just blow them out of the water, even though they only make like I think maybe
Like
500 total.
Five.
Yeah, like
They made
five.
5. That's all I've ever seen in real
Five.
life is 5.
Yeah, they're impossible to find. But before we get into like the grievances, before we air our grievances, it is a pretty cool lineup. It is a pretty cool price point. It's $79.99. It comes with 2 controllers.
Wait, 79? Like 79?
$79.
So
80 bucks.
80
bucks.
80 Trump dollars.
Hey
80
guys.
Trump dollars.
Yep.
80
Wait,
Trump
plus
dollars.
American Trump tax dollar.
Plus tax dollars. Yes.
Tracks.
Right.
So yeah, it's 80 bucks. The biggest thing I think is that it comes with a second controller. The NES Classic didn't. It only came with 1. So you get 2 controllers. And I think the biggest draw is that Star Fox 2 is coming out. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about this, but Star Fox 2 was never released. And it's kind of a testament to Nintendo. That
So
they've
like,
held
was it
on.
never released stateside or just
No, it
never
was
at
never
all?
released, period.
So they're putting a brand new game
That was never released.
on the SNES.
So they shelved Star Fox 2 like 30
Why?
years ago
Right.
or whatever.
Well,
Was
it wasn't what they necessarily wanted it to be, and now it's coming out. I mean, I think with the what was the last Star Fox game on the Wii U?
Star Fox Zero
Zero?
or something like that, yeah.
So like in a lot of ways, they kind of considered that the spiritual successor because they never got to come out with Star Fox 2, and now they're releasing Star Fox 2. But the lineup is pretty incredible. Contra 2, Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, F-Zero, Kirby Superstar, Kirby's Dream Course, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past,
All the Kirby's.
Mega
I
Man
love
X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghosts and Ghouls,
Castlevania.
Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, and Yoshi's Island.
So many supers in those titles.
Well, it was on the Super Nintendo, and that was kind of the gimmick. It's like how the Switch now has like everything is DX. You know, you have like Mario Kart Deluxe, and you have Pokken Tournament Deluxe, and those are all coming out. So, you know, what do you guys think of the chat? What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for the SNES Classic? I think I'm probably going to jump on one this time. Hey!
Oh no,
that
was
wasn't. Yeah, that was
system.
a different sound. That was just a computer noise.
It was a computer.
Just computer sound.
I want to know how long the controller cords are. Are they still like
Super short.
like 18 inches or?
Hey, that's pretty long.
especially if we run Jeremy, right?
There's two of them, so you put them together and then you go.
Yeah.
Oh man.
One would hope that they would have learned from their past and from the SNES or NES Classic.
They
but
won't.
They won't.
So Celeb is on the YouTube chats and says what happened was the Nintendo 64 was coming out and they wanted to usher in the 3D style game. Star Fox 2 used a lot of three-dimensional graphics.
Okay.
So that's why it got shelved. Celeb's already for the N64 mini. He's already ready to pre-order that.
He's already ready.
He's already ready.
Well, and then that leads me to my grievances is that like they most likely won't have pre-orders. Everyone's like, man, when are those pre-orders open?
Pre-orders opened outside of the U.S. and sold out immediately.
Right.
Shocker.
So that tells me that they're not even going to do them here, or other retailers.
I don't know. I mean,
It
it's not
depends.
until September. I mean, it's.
They said that like Nintendo's already said they are going to make more. They're going to produce more than the NES
Yeah,
Classic.
6. We're
But
gonna make 6.
one more.
Just one
Well,
more.
technically, one more is more.
Yes, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do one more than the last. The price is right. Nintendo wins. Everybody gets mad at retail people. Like,
Yeah.
That's where it's gonna be.
But they did say that it's only running to the end of the year. It's September to the end of the year. They're like, don't expect any more after that. They're like, that's
good.
the run.
I'm glad.
You know, because they did announce that ahead of time with the NES Classic.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, oh my God, where are these things? And I'm like, well, they're gone.
So
Yeah.
you're getting a little over 3 months.
Right. That's the same as the NES Classic.
So-
It's the exact same scenario.
And then
But I mean,
push
with
it
the
out.
NES Classic, we didn't have an end time. We didn't know when it was going to stop being produced. We didn't know when we weren't going to get any more. We had no idea. It was just a limited time only thing, and it wasn't like, okay, this is officially over. It just kind of drifted off, and people were trying to pay like $300 for these things.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and that's my frustration too, is that Nintendo creates this weird environment for resellers, and no one wants that. I mean, like there's a demand. So like if they just made more, or if they like, and that leads me to my second question: like, why are they even making it? Like they're not even producing and making enough of the Nintendo Switch. Why are they making another like little mini console? Mind you, I'm sure that it's super expensive to make. They're probably making a ton of money just making them $80.
It's a quick infusion of cash.
It's to keep Nintendo's name going. It's a conversation
It's like a
starter.
hype thing,
Yeah, it's a
basically,
hype machine. That's what for me. That's what the NES Mini was. It's like, okay, there's a hype machine here. They're putting this NES thing out. It's going to get older generations interested in it. And then they're like, oh, well, what is Nintendo up to right now? Oh, guess what? They're making a new console coming out in March called the Switch. It gets you engaged into the second conversation of Nintendo. Oh, what is this? What are amiibos? If you're interested in collecting things, what is this thing? And so I think for them, this is a thing for them to just keep staying, you know, on the edge of relevancy. You know, they're keeping their names on the front of everyone's forefront, like on their brain. Like Nintendo's going to have a great holiday because they're going to have units for Switch sales. They're going to have units for this NES Classic. They're going to have a whole new wave of amiibos come out, and they've got new games coming out this year. I mean, Mario Odyssey's coming out in October.
October 27th.
So they got to keep something that
same
keeps
day
them
as
going,
Assassin's Creed.
like throughout the entire time. You know, and I think that's really what they're doing, which is smart. It's super smart, but it's
Would you guys like
incredibly
some water?
frustrating.
Yes, please.
This is what's different. I don't know if you guys, obviously, you guys have noticed we are streaming actually
Thank you very much.
from the actual restaurant at Nerdvana Spirits.
Thank you, sir.
Which is kind of fun because we're able to sit here and enjoy water and beverages and be very careful to not spill stuff on
Yeah.
super expensive equipment.
If the show ends
Or
abruptly,
slurping.
that's why.
I'm kidding.
Shane, you sound so good over there.
That's why they call me the hedgehog.
That's right. You are this generation's hedgehog.
Just learned what that was
Ask
today.
Play
and,
Nation.
Oh my god.
now we're gonna use that.
Ask Play
I
Nation.
honestly had never heard that Ron Jeremy
Neither
was.
did I. Why,
Me either.
why would you want to be a hedgehog? Is it because he's fast?
He's
That was just I don't know because
He's
he
a little guy. He
and
like
it's
rolls up into a ball.
He's got a
He's in and
hair
out.
got
I
a
don't
hairy
know.
back.
yeah he's hairy and built like
So
Sonic. I don't
gross.
know.
Like I
He's a
can't even.
strange looking human.
I'm like quite
Yeah.
curious how much money it takes to actually sleep with him because it's real disgusting looking. Like,
But I mean, also you have to take it from the perspective that he's a consummate professional.
I guess.
He's a pro. He's been doing it for years.
Doing it for years.
He knows what he's doing.
Like longer than I've been alive years.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
is
true.
true.
His sex life
But is he still doing stuff though?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like actively still is.
Well, he's also
banging him out?
producing and stuff. It's more
Well,
just
that's
like
what I figured. Like he's
I'm the
part
boss.
Of, yeah, I think
You want a favor? You know what to do.
He's like the he's the
Shane's
Jenna
already-
Jameson.
he's already personifying it.
Yeah.
He's already got
he's
this.
like, I celebrate the Hedgehog's entire catalog.
Shane already knows. Well, he's got the camera equipment and the computer ready to go.
Yeah.
He does.
I mean,
Just
you
have a GoPro. I mean,
you got to pay the bill somehow,
Hedgehog
right?
After Hours.
Hedgehog-
Your new channel coming to Camp
Yeah.
Camp TV.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shane
Hedgehog After
the
Hours.
Hedgehog After Hours. He
Shane-
does
Shane
have
Hogg.
an underwater rig for his camera too. So
Oh
He's
God.
ready to
Just
go.
get them drowning. in
You
it.
can do everything. You can do all the things.
all the things.
So I think what we need to do is
Next topic.
shut
Yeah,
this
right.
shut this show down and get Shane's Hedgehog channel going so we can make some real money.
Right.
So we can just do this all day.
That'd be great. Oh,
right.
beer, please.
So
Just
we
work.
are. So I mean, like, yeah. So the SNES.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is like it looks cool. Like I'm actually gonna pick this one up. What do you guys think? Are you guys gonna, like? Are you guys wanting one?
God
I,
damn,
I
it's
stood
gonna show.
I stood in line
What
for
was that?
like 6 or 7 hours
Oh.
for the first one because my kids really wanted one for Christmas. So I don't know if they will with the Super Nintendo. Probably not. But
I grew
$80
up
bucks.
I mean,
playing
if
Super
I
Nintendo
could
more.
walk into a store with no problem, maybe I would buy one for Christmas. But I'm not gonna hunt it down.
I
I'm
think I'm
not
gonna
gonna
pick
wait
one
in
up.
line.
I think I'm gonna get one.
Well, I mean, and that goes with the hype train thing. Like, people are still talking about, oh, I saw some Twitch or some, what the fuck is it called? The new Nintendo thing.
The Switch.
Switch.
The Switch.
Switch.
Call it the Twitch. I've had one too many already. What the
You're
hell?
like Shane, you own one.
I know. I'm like, what is it called? I've been
have
playing
it.
forever
That
though.
thing that I push buttons
Yeah, I was
on.
like, thinking, but like, yeah, I'm like, I saw a post today, like, oh, I found some Switches out of Walmart off of like 380 and blah blah
People
blah.
are still looking for
Like,
it.
people are still looking for them. People
Yeah, I
still
mean,
want
they're
'em.
like that's my point. Is that the Switches are still hard to find,
Yeah.
and they're not producing enough. So like now they're
why?
coming up with another thing. I mean, like I get it, like that, but their hype is already real and it's live, it's fresh.
Like,
But
they have to be doing it for the hype because it's not like they don't have the money to make more. Of them.
arguably, here we are talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that. I'm gonna get one because there's a couple. I never played Mario RPG. I want to play that one that was made with Nintendo and Square Soft at the time. They're Square Enix now, but it's Square Soft at the time. And I never played that one, so I want to check that one out. Especially in preparation, I think. And I also think it's a way to also hype up a lot of their newer games that are coming out on other consoles. You know, you have Super Metroid on this one, and then on the 3DS, you have Metroid Samus Returns coming out, which is a new kind of classic side-scroller with 3D elements for the 3DS. I don't know if you guys saw any of that. We talked a little bit about it on one of our past episodes from E3. That was something that Nintendo announced. I'm super stoked. I think it looks awesome, and I think it looks like a classic Metroid game, so I'm super jazzed for that one. So to get people who maybe have never played Metroid that are like, man, I want a new game for my 3DS,
Right.
you slap it on there on the SNES, and then you like pick it up. Like, you know, Zelda. Like, Zelda's all the hype with Breath of the Wild, one of the best rated games of all time. You re-release a Link
Well,
to the
if
Past.
you're a hardcore Star Fox fan, you want to play Star Fox 2.
Yeah,
So
that in
that's
itself is
you're
going to
paying $80 to play Star Fox 2.
I just really
Or you
wish.
play
I
less
just
of
really
stuff.
wish they would make enough where it didn't create an environment for resellers to just
I know.
Scalping,
I
flipping.
yeah,
just
scalping.
We're gonna buy
I hate
10 of 'em.
scalping. I hate when people are mad at you because they can't find one, and then they tell you their whole story about it, and it's like, I know your story is the same as everyone else's story. I wish I could
Yeah.
help you. I wish there was more that I could do.
I wish I could make money.
I wish I could just print them and make them. I would sell it to you. Like, I hate feeling like the bad guy on this end of these things when we don't have them. I'm like, listen, I understand, and then you have to just explain it over and over again. But I mean, that's
It's
just part of
that
that life,
weird
you know.
disconnect from people that actually like work in a store.
Yeah.
The people that work in an office, because a home office would be, this is great because people are going to walk into your store,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you tell them, sorry, I don't have the Super Nintendo Mini. Well, I'll take a Switch, or I'll buy this, or I'll buy that. Well, 99 out of 100 times, that person's just going to turn around and walk back out
Yeah.
and go somewhere else. But from a home office perspective or Nintendo perspective, like you said, it gets people talking about it.
Yeah.
And it gives you an opportunity to sell a Switch or a Metroid or ARMS or Splatoon or Zelda or any other damn thing. You know,
Yeah.
all the amiibos, anything that'll get you to work in that regard.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting for sure, but I just wish they were.
Can you hear us on that, by the way?
This it was really low.
Really low?
Yeah.
I just hate how everyone has like different settings and stuff. So like,
I
so
I
we're
like
oh,
this.
look, sounds
so I
great.
like this one here on the YouTube's. Take my money when the Virtual Boy Classic hits the shelves.
Yeah.
Take my
Yeah,
money.
it's a 3DS. Download.
I mean, did you ever get a chance to play the Virtual Boy?
Yeah.
No.
So basically, it was virtual reality, like, I don't know, 25 years ago, whatever
Yeah,
it was.
but it was all just straight lines. And
So it was
all
straight
red
lines.
and black.
It was all in red, so you'd push your face, kind of like you go to the doctor for the eye
Yeah,
doctor.
yeah.
Like that, you just push your face into this thing, and you just look, and the little controller connected down on the bottom, and you would. Yeah, basically the game was just in your face. It
Gotcha.
wasn't virtual reality, say like the PlayStation one is.
Yeah,
Where, like.
but it blocked
I wonder
everything
if
out.
it's because we
Right.
turned the headsets down.
I mean, possibly, but I just want to blow everyone's eardrums out.
We working on audio.
Yeah, I mean, some people are saying it's good, some people are saying it's
So
not
Richard
so
is saying volume is way too up here.
No.
No,
His
here it
volume's
is.
up on his
Oh, yeah, so
whatever he's viewing on.
Yeah, so the same thing I had with me, where last week's episode and rewatched it. I had my volume on 100 maxed out.
Everyone, put your mic right here.
And it was hard to.
put it in your face.
Put your mic.
Well, I
hard-
think
it
it
was
was
hard
because
to
we
hear.
turned each other down because we were so loud. But I mean,
Right.
I can half hear it.
We're working on the audio.
Actually, or you move yours farther away from your mouth.
Yeah, you
Alright.
move yours.
Yeah,
far
you
away.
probably need to be farther away.
Yeah.
Because we'll hear you just fine. Like, I got to crank you guys up in order to...
We need to get Richard directly on the phone 'cause he's on a delay while we're waiting for RJC. So I saw on the Twitters that the RJC cut a new trailer for a video game. Wow, that was loud. That spiked a little bit. So anxiously waiting to see that, Richard. You can send me a copy of that, please. You know what my email is. iloverichard@gmail.com.
I love Richard Laugh.
Just wait till you meet Richard. Shane, you will fall in
We
love
need
with
to.
Richard.
We need to.
too.
We
He's
need to
met
make.
I met him like...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were here
times,
last
I
time
think,
he was here.
Yeah,
But if we're
and
gonna
we
have
were
him on
gonna
the-
Pack South too.
Everyone forgets I met Richard. I met you, dude.
Richard comes and goes.
We're like
so
BFFs.
You never know who.
Yeah, Richard will
Richard
be
is
in town.
this may be an
next
old
week.
reference for the table, but Richard is like Kang from Kung Fu. He just wanders the earth and gets shit done,
All
and then
right.
he comes back in your life, and then comes back out of your life.
In and out.
Richard's the best.
Yep.
He is the best. Richard is not commenting in the chat. If
I
it's
can't
being
even
better or
get.
not.
I can't even get my Twitch chat to work. So there's that.
Oh, maybe we're
Broken
moving
all
it down
things?
soon.
Broken.
I mean, Celeb must be able to hear us on the YouTube because he wants to know. Please tell me when I see you all at QuakeCon this year.
Yeah, it depends. When is QuakeCon? That's like August 22nd or 23rd or something like that.
I thought it was later
Yeah,
than
it's
that.
like August.
Is it the end of August?
Yeah, because if it's at the end of
Yeah, I
August,
have my phone volume all the way up. And it's
Tiff and I are going to be out of town
hard.
because that's manager's
I think
count.
you can hear, but
get
it's,
us
it's
the
one of those
get us the
volume
dates on
things.
that.
And
On
it's
the
at the
dates.
Gaylord now, too.
It is. It's at a different venue. So
The 23rd. Our delay must not be nearly as bad on the YouTubes. The 23rd is when QuakeCon
yeah,
is.
that's Wednesday. It's on a Wednesday.
Well, that must start
I
Wednesday,
think it
right?
starts that Wednesday.
Because that's when you can set up your
Yeah, we're going to be
computer
We're going to be flying out that Sunday. So
We fly out the 27th.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So maybe
maybe we'll see you there. I mean, we live here, so we'll be in Dallas.
Yeah.
put a question mark in it.
If you want to come and see us, we'll be here. Yeah. So, a lot of other movie news. We got the Venom coming out.
We now have a heart
The
from Richard.
Venom.
Richard, does that mean you can hear us?
Hear all the things.
So confused.
Uh,
Richard can hear everything because he is the stunt double for Henry Cavill, so he has
Oh.
supersonic hearing like Superman does.
Especially now that he's been doing the P90 Superman.
Oh yeah, he is ready.
He says
barely.
it's barely better.
Barely
That's
better.
weird, because I hear it sounds fine on mine.
Well, Richard,
I don't know,
your
Richard's
your
got
shit's
some
broke.
Supercomputer like Bruce Wayne that he edits all his movies. on.
Whatever. Let's just move forward. We're gonna move forward. Richard,
Volume dial C is speakers is max. Well, sorry, Richard. Hopefully you can hear all the great things we're saying about
You wanna
you.
hear?
Huh?
You want to hear? I'm not crazy.
23rd to the 27th for QuakeCon.
Well, yeah, I had it on my phone too. It's still really low on my phone though. Like not loud.
Sounds
everyone like
Well, I don't
tuning
know
in
why
the show. We're all just
why-
like sitting here
why
being
we're-
like,
I didn't
"Does it
realize
sound?"
that.
I'm just
How's
thinking
it
of
sound?
more great things to say about Richard.
Yeah, I mean, like he's a good guy, filmmaker,
We could share.
entrepreneur,
He is. He is
bodybuilder,
excellent filmmaker. Bodybuilder needs to be
weight,
added to his
weight
resume.
loser.
That's going to be loud as fuck.
Not a loser, but a weight
Weight loser.
loss.
Body
Oh.
shaper.
body
He's a body
movement.
shaper. Oh, Richard, where's your YouTube? Body by
Just wear the
Richard.
headphones around my neck.
Body by Richard.
Get that going. Get that going, RJC.
Body by RJC.
See, that pulled it up. How's
Anyways,
that?
just dropped
There
in.
we
Gonna
go.
see you
There we
next
go.
week. We're
Yeah, so
3 trailers. All right, bye, Richard. Oh, you can hear now.
Yeah, so
Oh, good job,
bye,
Richard.
Richard.
We love you.
But
Bye,
no,
Richard.
what happened was we turned the mics down so we weren't hearing each other screaming in our headsets, and then that turned.
And then it turned everything down.
It seems, so.
All right, well,
So
thank
no
you,
screaming.
Richard.
Don't get excited now.
No one get excited. No one get hurt.
Don't peek the microphone. Like,
All right.
like the
Well,
problems
let's move
we always
forward
had
then. Okay,
before.
we're going to talk a little bit about movie news. Like so one of the biggest things with like Sony and Marvel, and they just announced Venom. We talked about that last week,
which was hilarious. So we left last week, and literally like 15 minutes after we leave, here's all these news stories that basically is like, yes, it is going to be Carnage. Tom Holland is not signed. There you go. Let's wait and see what happens.
It's a lot of like yes and no's from kind of both parties, because like Marvel and Sony have been doing like interviews together for Spider-Man: Homecoming, and the Sony side, what's her name? I forget her name, but
Amy Pascal.
Amy Pascal from Sony is like, oh yeah, Tom Holland is going to totally be canon in our Spider-Man movies because we're making Venom and we're making the Black Cat movie. He's going to be canon in our movies. And the guy from Marvel, I guess Kevin Feige, is sitting there and he's like, you fucking said what?
Yeah.
He's like,
the look on his face during the one interview is priceless.
We
He was like,
talk about this. He's like, say what? and then like after the interview's over, he's like, no, that's not a thing. He's like they're doing their own movies, but this is independent from ours. And then later on, we discover most recently that Donald Glover's character in Spider-Man: Homecoming is the Prowler, and he references his nephew apparently in the upcoming movie. And for Prowler's nephew is Miles Morales.
Right.
So technically, the Miles Morales Spider-Man is or can be in the Marvel movies.
So technically, he exists. They're not name dropping. It's something about like, I'm going to see my nephew or whatever.
Yeah. So we
technically,
we know. But you might see the Prowler. You might see Donald Glover's character as an actual superhero in this one. So you might see that, because I don't know if Marvel ever sold the Prowler to Sony or if that's still like a Marvel property. It must be.
Well, if it's part of Spider-Man, Sony has everything Spider-Man.
Right, but it's not. The Prowler's an independent character that just so happens to be also in the Marvel universe. Like, as of right now, for example, in the current Spider-Man comics,
Sony, then.
Well, in the current Spider-Man comics, it would make sense that is him, and that they're going to show off the Prowler in this movie, because in the current comics, the Prowler is in the Spider-Man comics right now. Like the current run of like Amazing Spider-Man, he's there. So that would make sense that they would like try to infuse him, because a lot of people were like really wanted Donald Glover to be Miles Morales, and like he should be the Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie. And then Tom Holland's like, oh, I really want to be Spider-Man. They're like, you're cast.
Right.
And they still found a way to shoehorn Donald Glover in, but in a very kind of different capacity.
And then they also let it out that so Spider-Man 2, or whatever they're going to call it, takes place after the Avengers movies, and it's like the fallout from Avengers 3 and 4. Then you're going to see it in Spider-Man 2. Kind of like that how Iron Man 3 was like, this is the fallout from Avengers, and Tony's all crazy.
Yeah, they're using the standalone movie to kind of tie it into the
And there's also the rumors that since Peter Parker is going to outer space, that he could bring the symbiote back with him, and that's how it gets to Venom.
Yeah,
but
that would make the most sense.
But if the next movie is the Spider-Man 2 after Avengers 3 and 4 are over, how does he get the suit off if he's not signed to do the Sony movies? I mean, obviously we're wildly speculating because that's like 4 years away.
Because it could be anything at this point. Like, we don't know.
It's kind of like people calling your store and saying, do you have the Super Nintendo Mini? And it's like, no, goddammit. They just said it comes out in September. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, this Venom movie comes out in like 3 years, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, but like, it's so funny. It's so funny because like the movie, like you said, the movie isn't even out yet. Homecoming isn't even out yet, and there's so much hype about all these other movies, and it's like we haven't even seen this movie.
Right, we haven't seen the first one
yet. This movie might suck. Like, I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hearing early like rumblings because they've let people see it that it doesn't suck.
Okay, good.
But you never know. It could. Because they're also saying, like, now they're also saying that, like, they're backpedaling and creating canon from earlier movies. That in Iron Man 2, there's a kid that gets saved by Robert Downey Jr., by Tony Stark. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was Peter Parker. What?
Oh,
sure.
what?
I swear to God. That's, like, so much,
Seriously?
like, because people online were like, this is so neat. And Kevin Feige was like, yeah, sure, what the fuck?
Yeah,
what the hell not?
Yeah, because Tom Holland was in an interview and was like, oh, yeah. That was Peter Parker at the fair that
and
Tony
they're sure
Stark
like, why not?
Saved.
Can I get another, please? 805.
I don't think they're gonna reference it in the movie. It's just like an internet thing. It just kind of floats around for fans. So.
Yeah, it's Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, it plays into it, like, which is kind of cool. Whatever, they can do whatever they want. I mean, it's Marvel.
The kid that was abandoned with a potato gun. That'd been awesome. Like, yeah, my dad went to get groceries like 6 years ago. He never came back.
Never came back.
I mean, like when you really consider like how these superheroes can impact these kids' lives, negatively or positively. You have Batman Begins, and there's a young kid and his parents are fighting, and he comes out on the balcony, and Batman shows up, and he's like, here, you can have my grapple gun. And he's like, no one at school's going to believe me. And Batman's like, yeah. But he doesn't, like, help the kid because the kid still lives in squalor with abusive parents. And then he turns into King Joffrey.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Same actor, by the way. Remember that? Batman Begins? It's Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Come on, you guys. You know what I'm talking about. Chad over here gets me.
So he
Joffrey.
travels to another time and space continuum and takes over dragons.
If Sony and Marvel can make things happen, you can.
I mean, technically,
I can West
HBO
Coast.
is owned by Time Warner, which is Warner Brothers. So
how about that shit?
I mean, there you go.
There you go.
So Batman Begins is tied to Game
Batman
of Thrones.
Begins is canon into
Well,
into
so
Game of
And
Thrones.
see, this is how things like that, where that little boy is Peter Parker, happen because
It's because-
somebody says
Right.
something.
So
Some
if we
asshole
had
with a
if we had
show
like a
on
million
Twitch.
viewers, all of a sudden we would have just created that
Yep.
rumor.
Okay,
What's
so
happening?
everyone's
who's the
everyone's goal is to start spreading that rumor.
so the CIA agent from
So who
from
in
the
the
Dark
DC
Knight
universe has
Rises,
time capabilities besides the Flash?
Mike,
who can go back in
Yeah,
time?
who can go back in time?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
DC.
So,
That's Marvel.
That's
DC.
Marvel.
Is it Marvel?
Well,
Sorry.
Flash's villains, so Zoom,
All of the
Zoom,
characters that are
Reverse
okay,
Flash.
so anybody that's opposite of Flash that like hates the world, saw that kid, ran him back in time. Put him in the Game of Thrones
Superman.
universe.
Well, it depends. It depends if you watch the
Superman
movies.
flew around the planet
Yeah,
and he
it-
turned back time. If
in
we
the movie-
could turn back time,
He was singing that song and he was trying to save
If
if we
Lois from
could
dying.
Superman.
I think that was just for the movie. I don't think Superman in canon can fly so fast that the world spins backwards.
But he's done it multiple times though, hasn't
For
he?
5
In
minutes.
like multiple outlets.
Oh, Flash has, because Flash
Well,
has
Flash has, yeah.
destroyed the DC universe multiple times.
I
by-
played Injustice 2 a
breaking
number
it.
of times.
Oh, I love Injustice 2. When he like grabs you, he takes you back, throws you into the fucking pyramids, and then takes you
Yeah.
back and
Like,
throws
you see
you
a
into the
dinosaur,
So good.
yeah.
and then smacks yourself into yourself. Oh, I love that one. It's my favorite ultimate, like in the game. I don't know why I
It
love it
is.
so much
'Cause he's
because
in-
I think it like he shoves you into your own face, and he's like, "Fuck your face."
He's in the
with
Speed
your own
Force.
face. Like it's so
in the
good.
face. In the face.
Oh, can we talk about Injustice for like 2 seconds? Like I beat the game.
We already now.
I beat
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
game.
we're already
We're
on
talking
it.
about
Let's
it.
do
So I did a poll on Twitter, and I was like, "What ending did you choose?" And everyone was like, "Batman." I was like, "Oh God." Everyone
Oh,
chose
God.
Batman. Like, I chose Superman because I was talking to someone and they're like, choose Superman. It's the more interesting ending. And they're like, everyone chooses Batman. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Because the entire time, I'm like, goddamn Superman. Fucking, why are you being such a dick? Like, I get it, but like,
You're a dick.
oh, damn it, Superman. And that, of course, creates injustice in the whole series. But I chose the Superman ending. And I really enjoyed it.
I didn't even know there was
Afraid-
alternate endings.
There's two
honestly.
endings.
there's
There's
two.
a Batman ending and a Superman ending.
Oh, I guess it makes sense
Yeah.
because one side has to win.
Yeah, so when you're playing the game, you get to choose who you're going to fight as on certain fights.
Yeah.
So there's like
But you start off as Batman's team.
yeah,
like,
you
for the
start well
first
you
half,
start off
right?
on Batman and then so
Yeah.
you'll go to the next phase and they'll meet up with different characters and then like
'Cause I did
there's
Harley
Black
and some
Canary
stuff,
and
yeah,
Green
okay.
Arrow and then you're like they're together so you're sitting there and they're like, well, who's going to take this fight? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to choose Black Canary and then it'll show her dialogue. But if you like lose, you can switch it back up and
Yeah.
go back and do Green Arrow. So there's a certain point in the game where I think you have to do like 52 or 75 fights or something like that before you can unlock the next alternate ending. So you have to go back and play as the other characters, do more fights to unlock the other ending, or just play the whole game over again.
Right.
So I just really like
So
it.
you quite literally Superman that hoe.
Oh.
I
Eh.
So is there going to be Injustice 3 based off
Oh,
the end of
there's-
the story?
I mean, off the Superman side, yeah, has to be.
Well, don't
Like,
spoil
it'd
it.
be
I haven't
super
finished
good.
it.
You're not gonna
Right.
finish it.
I will too.
Jen's played it more than I have, honestly. She kicks ass with Black Canary. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm
She's fun. She's fun to play as in this round.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn and the Flash are my two favorite ones
Flash
to play
is
as
fun.
in this one. But
Because he like slows down time and stuff. Too.
yeah,
Those little-
and then he'll do this, and then like all of a sudden your body's like this, and you're like, oh, because he was so fast, like you don't even see it, like, but you react to it, like it's really good. I like it a lot.
There you go.
He's like my new favorite character. I should probably watch the TV show.
Well, that's what got
Well,
me bummed though,
TV
'cause
show is pretty good.
That's what I hear.
they didn't cast the dude from the show though in the movie, which I was like, I'm kind of bummed about.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's
because
one-
unlike Marvel, DC has two separate universes.
Yeah, it sucks.
Where Marvel ties their TV and their movies together. DC, they're separate.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
Which they
it's
shouldn't.
Well,
Which affects the shows on CW.
well, they haven't had very
a
good
lot in the
movies lately,
past.
so it's probably why they're
So-
not doing
And
that.
the shows are better, which is ironically.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
It's
It's
been-
like, why don't you cast the shows that are doing really well into the movies? 'Cause
Yeah.
I like the Flash from the show. The movie was meh. I don't know. We'll see.
So we really
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with Venom, but it's something. There's too
Other
much-
than we'll probably talk about it every
I mean, I
week
think,
till something else comes out.
I think the reason why there's so much hype that's been built is that Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man. Even just on Civil War, he did so good. So like, I'm more excited for this Spider-Man than I was the Andrew Garfields or anything that Sony did, because Marvel obviously is going to treat Spider-Man the right way, which is why they call it Homecoming. Like, he's home. I'm sure it's going to have to do with the story too. There's probably a homecoming dance or something.
Because he's like a sophomore
Yeah.
in the movie.
So it makes
So.
sense. But it's better that like when Marvel gets their hands on it, man.
Well, he's coming into an established universe instead of making a whole new universe all over
Yeah.
again, like
Yeah.
with the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Right.
It works better in that regard. Plus, Tom Hardy. How can you not want to watch Tom Hardy in
Look
something?
at that. The best part about streaming Nirvana Spirits.
From the
Downstairs.
downstairs.
You get the spirits part.
We get the spirits.
Get the spirits.
I got the spirit. How about you?
Homecoming. Yay! Tie it in.
Anybody else need a drink?
Perfect delay to see your head come in on my
There
screen
you go.
over here.
Okay, so
Perfect delay.
other Marvel, Disney, Star Wars news. We know a little bit more since the last time we talked about the Han Solo movie and like what happened. Now, the one thing that I want to add that I didn't know is that what is it? Is it Phil Miller? The two directors who
Yeah,
were
the two
making
director was Lord and Miller.
Lord and
I
Miller
forget
who
what
were
the other
making
guy's
that. Yeah.
first name was.
So they were famous for making the Lego movie, and they made the 21 Jump Street. What I didn't know that they had made was an animated series back on MTV, and it was like one of my favorite cartoon animated series, and it was called Clone High. You ever see this, Chad? You ever see this?
Yeah.
They did Clouded with the Chance of Meatballs.
There was
Not a
another
terrible
show
movie.
they did too, and I can't remember what it was, but they were like on. It was kind of like a survival show.
Yeah, they've done it. They've done a
can't
ton,
remember
but
what
like
the other
Clone
one
High
was
is
called.
hilarious. If you guys ever get the chance, Clone High is
They're
super
doing
funny.
something else animated for Disney. Are they doing the Spider-Man?
They're doing the Spider-Man animated
show?
movie. Yeah,
Okay.
they're doing the Spider-Man animated movie. But like the Flash, they were supposed to direct the Flash, and apparently they fell off. And because they were going to direct like Han Solo,
Right.
and from what it sounds like, from what we gathered since we've last talked, is that like the Star Wars royalty was like, oh, you're making this too funny. This is not really the direction that we wanted. We're done here. And then they put in Ron Howard, which we heard.
They were super pissed.
Yeah.
Like they would take the day and have like 2 or 3 scenes shot by like noon, and they're like, "This is not how we make movies." They were using a 4-camera shoot, and Lucas wanted at least an 8 to 12 camera shoot, so they'd have enough to be able to edit. They fired the editor. They brought in an acting coach for the
Because they
kid who's
didn't
playing Han
like
Solo.
how they were filming the movie, even though that was why they brought independent like filmmakers or other filmmakers, so the other movies that were standalones would have a different feel. And now they're kind of like backpedaling on that.
So-
They're like, we don't really want it to have a different feel.
Right. Apparently, a lot of the same thing happened to Garth Edwards with Rogue One. That a lot of more stories are coming out now that these two guys were fired and they're changing all this stuff. That all the shit that he had to deal with. And he was more like, okay, yeah, cool, sure, let's just cut that and let's reshoot this or let's do that. He wasn't pushed back like Lord and Miller were, and they were like, no, we were hired to make this movie and we want to make it our way. And they were like, no, you're not going to make it your way. You're going to make it the way that we tell you to make it.
Right.
So the writer of the movie, which is Lawrence, I can't pronounce his last name, but he wrote Empire Strikes Back,
Sure.
Return of the Jedi. He writes all of them. Was super pissed that we've seen the dailies and they weren't following the script word for word. So for Lord and Miller, we're like, okay, cool. So we'll shoot one that's directly to script, and then we'll shoot like 3 or 4 doing improvs. And they wanted to have more improv, not follow the script.
Right.
So Lawrence, the dude, like came to the set and basically just watched him. And was like, no, this is some bullshit, and called him up and was like, we're not doing this anymore. And they just came to an impasse where they weren't making the movie they wanted to. So you bring in Ron Howard. They're doing 5 more weeks of reshoots now.
Hey.
Wow.
New editor.
Whoa.
New editors.
That's a whole new. That's
a whole new movie.
That's
Yeah.
Ron Howard's movie now, man.
Right.
That's
acting,
5
acting
more
coach.
weeks.
They're going to do full, probably 10 to 12 hour shoot days. To where Lord and Miller were doing maybe 4 to 6 hours, if that.
So
to
instead of
shoot.
Ron Howard, they should have brought Ron Jeremy in.
We need to get the head
That would
job.
have been a whole different Han Solo movie.
Okay.
There's probably
Those already exist.
there's probably
They're
a parody
there.
of
There's-
Ron
there's
Jeremy
already
Oh,
as,
that's true.
as Han Solo.
Want to see my lightsaber?
It's like,
Yeah.
guess who's gonna shoot first? I win.
Yeah, I'm sure
The
that
hedgehog
exists.
and Chewbacca.
Oh my god. That's like some furry stuff right there.
Some
That
really
is.
weird stuff.
Stop there.
Took-
The
took a
internet
dark
loves
turn.
Star Wars.
So I mean, let me kind of get a feel from you guys. Like, do you think it's still going to be a good, funny movie? I mean, it's got to be because like Han Solo's always kind of been.
he's he's like an aloof character.
Yeah, he's
like,
the comic relief
Yeah,
always.
he's
I mean, there probably will be some sort of funny bits here and there if you even want to use funny, like sarcastic, like Han
I mean,
Solo is.
all
Like,
the Star Wars movies have their own moments where like you have a chuckle from them. Even like they get really serious, but then they have a moment where you're
Right.
like, haha.
it's
you know,
not like Guardians of the Galaxy where every couple
everything
minutes
is
is a joke.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I don't think it'll be that way. It'll be more of a serious
I'm
tone.
a
We
little
want-
bummed out that it's not going to be
The movie that they wanted. Yeah.
the movie that they wanted.
I mean, it's
like,
the same kind of disappointment.
It's one of those things where it's like, it could have been.
What could it have been? I feel the same way about Ant-Man because Edgar Wright wrote most of the script and was supposed to direct it, and then like last minute Marvel was like, well, we don't really want a funny movie even though we hired you, and now he's coming out with Baby Driver and it's going to be wildly successful.
I heard that was great.
Ant-Man
I
was
heard it
pretty funny.
Yeah,
Because
Ant-Man was
parts.
funny.
A lot of
Yeah.
it was still the Edgar Wright script, which is
So-
why it was funny.
Yeah.
It's weird how you hire somebody and then they start working together. And you're like,
It's like, have you not seen the previous work? Like, did you not pay attention to what they've done previously? Why the hell would you hire somebody without knowing what their stuff is like to begin with? Like, if they didn't want a funny movie for the Han Solo movie, why would they hire them to do this?
I think it's also a perception kind of thing. From a production standpoint, you have these people that are like, sure, we're going to hire this director and it's going to have their feel and it's going to have their name on it, but they're going to make it our way. And these
bet
dudes,
too, it's probably
these
'cause
dudes
it's
had the
cheaper.
cojones to be
Right.
like, no, you hired us to do our own movie, so
Yeah.
we're going to do it. And like, I'm sure DC is going to gladly embrace them and be like, please make Flash.
sure, bring them
And-
back. So
yeah, bring
Flash
them back and make
Flash is
Flash,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it brings up a good point in the YouTubes here. Hope they don't ruin the legend that is Han Solo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it almost like, are we going to get too much backstory?
yeah.
Or
Like as much as everyone loves Boba Fett, and you see him as a kid in Clone Wars for a few minutes, like, do we want a whole movie? Does it wreck the mystique that you've built up into it?
Well, I feel like if you do it right, it's not difficult. So, like, if you do it as, like, this is one scene from one adventure that happened to this character,
Yeah.
that could be one thing. But if you kind of expand upon it and you know, you make the entire movie about how they got there, how they got, like, I feel like we're going to know how he gets the Millennium Falcon. Like, I feel like that's
That's
got
gotta
to
be it. That
Like,
ha-
there's got to
that's-
be a story on how he gets a hold of this ship.
Well,
What,
because he
like-
gets it from Lando Calrissian. He wins
Yeah.
that
And
from him.
Lando's in it. Like,
Yeah.
So-
I would love it for it to be just that. I mean, Rogue
Like,
One.
I just want to know that story. Just
Rogue
show
One
me
is just
that
a-
story,
Yeah.
and then, like, at the end of the movie, him going off onto, like, his next adventure, and that's it. Like, I don't need to know
and then they
more
could
than
possibly
that.
make more Han Solo prequel
They
movies.
possibly could, but I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, it's like we don't need it. We have the established character. We have, like, his canon. We know all that we need to know about
Yeah.
him. Like, let's focus on the new characters that we're involving in the universe.
I agree with you to a degree, but I also felt that way about Rogue One.
I did
Excuse
really
me, before it came out, and I was like,
Unnecessary?
hey,
Like, why is
we
this
don't need
even
to
a
know
thing?
why they got the Death Star plans. But then it came out, and I was like, holy shit, that
Yeah.
movie was good.
That was really
Well,
good. I liked
I'm
it.
kind of glad that they're fixing
But it
everything.
was one story. It was like you didn't hear the backstory for every character that was
But
in that.
it was a
Yeah.
good
movie.
but pointless movie. Like
Yeah.
people didn't need to watch it to
Yeah.
like, follow the storyline.
So do you think would you rather Han Solo be that maybe just enriches the character, but you don't need it?
Yeah,
So-
I think
That's
so.
what I would like,
finding
yeah.
about the ship and like how he got that and more of the character backstory. I mean, that'd be great. Like
I would love to see him and Lando's like relationship
Yeah.
before it
Yeah.
went all Ray. You know, like I think that'd be super fun to watch.
And because I keep up with the comics, and I think the comics, which are considered canon, they fall to the fault of like having a lot of weird like story elements because they have to kind of keep it going. And each issue of a comic could really be like a full-blown 30 to 45-minute thing because events have to happen to keep you reading. So like in reading the comics, there's a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to Han Solo, that I'm like, well, this shit is unnecessary.
he is like, what?
Like, well, I mean, like apparently, like he's been married before
Oh.
in the comics.
Right, we saw
he's got, like
that.
he's got like a really brief wife that like it was more of just like a circumstantial thing that he really didn't know this person and fall in love. But like when this person arrives, it's like, oh, I'm Han's wife, and it's like, oh, there's drama, but like that never comes up in the original trilogy, which makes it hard to consider that canon. Which is why Rogue One worked so well because it was completely independent from anything that we know.
Well, so when you saw the first trailers for Rogue One and then went and saw the movie, you're like, holy shit, a lot of stuff is missing from the trailers that released because they went back and recut it. Which I'm glad with Han Solo, we don't have trailers. We don't have any reference.
We don't know.
All we know is they're going back and fixing it.
All we know it's going to be a Ron Howard movie.
So another great comment from the YouTubes over here. He traded the Falcon, an NES Classic for the Falcon. That's how he got the Falcon.
So rare
Like it was a stack of every single SNES classics.
And Rogue
because he
says,
hoarded all of them.
It says Rogue One was worth it just for the last scene, which, yeah,
Sure.
it was.
Yeah. It makes Episode 4 better, which is weird. And I didn't think was possible.
Well, I think the best part of that was...
Or it enhances it, I would say.
It enhances it. And then if you watch it, you can kind of piece together why C-3PO or R2-D2 never get hit when they're shooting down the hallway. It's because the Force is with them. And they're protected by the Force.
Well, what I like even more is it's like in Rogue One, it doesn't just reinforce C-3PO and R2. It reinforces what it does is it builds why stormtroopers are such awful shots. It creates that it's canon is that with like all of the people that they're fighting are Force sensitive and they have the Force is with them. And that's that I feel that's the biggest thing that Rogue One did.
Yeah.
Is that it created
kind of
like
explained a little bit why they can go through these battles and not get like fucking shot at.
It took an ongoing joke. Yeah.
Fixed a plot hole from that one.
The biggest ongoing like tongue-in-cheek plot hole joke. Like these are supposed to be trained soldiers.
That's right.
They're
even in in A New Hope when they find the Jawas are all dead, and they were like, oh, it must be Sand people. No, these blasts are too precise. They're Imperial blasters.
Yeah, they're Imperial like Stormtrooper blasters.
So the Stormtroopers can actually kick ass unless it's a Force-sensitive person, which would make sense because C-3PO was created by Anakin, who is supposed to bring balance to the Force.
So poor K2SO was not part of the Force.
No, he was.
But
everyone had to die for it to make sense.
Yeah.
Going
but they also were on a kind of suicide mission, and they knew that. You know, because like that's not to say that everyone is like completely invincible.
Right.
You know. What's up?
What's up?
Anyways,
that
so
noise
Han
of
Solo.
refreshment.
So Ron Howard, how do you feel about Ron Howard making this?
I'm fine with it.
I'm cool with it.
I mean, what was the? I don't know. I really don't know a lot of Ron Howard movies. He did Apollo 13.
And he did all of the stuff, didn't he? He did the Da Vinci's, the Da Vinci Code movies.
He did a lot of stuff.
He did a lot of really good
Tom
stuff.
Hanks.
I just feel like none of it's like very sci-fi. You know, like he doesn't have a lot of like sci-fi kind of movies under his belt.
I just like a lot of people joked now that he's on like the whole movie should be narrated, like Arrested Development.
Oh God, why?
Well, because
that would go back to be too much of a comedy.
You've seen Arrested Development, right?
Yeah.
So the narration the whole time, that's Ron Howard, who does that narration.
Okay.
And he's like, where someone's like, Job is like, I've made a huge mistake, and then it's like he's made a huge mistake. Like it's always that funny narration. Like that's Ron Howard.
Gotcha.
Which is funny because like in the first season that Netflix picked up, Ron Howard is in it, and Imagine Entertainment is like in it, which he owns.
That makes sense. Okay.
So I don't know. It could be good. I mean, like he hasn't made like a whole lot of movies lately. I still
feel like he's gonna make a good movie, whether or not it's what you align with. It's probably still gonna be a good movie. There's gonna be some things, of course, that everyone disagrees with, but I think overall he'll probably do a pretty good job. But I would still like to have seen the other movie that was actually being made. Like,
I agree. That would have been good.
If we didn't know about it, that would have been a whole nother thing. You know, there could have very much been where this was all kept under wraps, but they didn't sign the right NDAs. Yeah. So that or they did, and somebody messed up.
It's like they said that too many people feel like they have ownership of Star Wars, to where the smallest little change everyone will freak out about.
Yeah.
Everything. What happened to everything?
That's not canon.
Yeah.
I mean, like A Beautiful Mind. He's made a lot of like really famous movies, and it kind of is like a full circle kind of thing because he worked with George Lucas on American Graffiti. He was on American Graffiti.
Ron Howard has done Donald Trump's Art of the Deal, The Odd Couple, Arrested Development, Beautiful Mind.
Well, The Art of the Deal, what that was the parody that recently came out that had Johnny Depp playing Donald Trump.
He has not done a lot of movies once you keep going through here, all his stuff through here.
Right.
So I have a guilty confession.
Yeah.
I,
That you love Ron Howard?
Yes, actually.
No, see, these are the ones he's directed. So yeah, he's done a ton.
I binge watched Girl Boss on Netflix, by the way.
Oh, so good. The show was canceled too.
I know.
Super disappointing.
Literally all in one day. I watched the whole thing.
I haven't even heard of this.
I don't even know. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It's the same chick from, what was she in? She was, like, because she was driving me nuts because it looks like the chick from the Hunger Games, but it's not the chick from the Hunger Games. She's from Tomorrowland and
Haven't seen that either.
some other stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's about this chick that starts her own business, but she's like,
Oh, where she's like selling clothes. She's reselling clothes. Yeah, yeah.
So, and it was like, I was like, I'm bored, and I put on one episode. I was like, fuck, this is good.
It looked interesting, man. But I think the best stuff on Netflix right now is probably like Master of None. And have you started watching Glow?
I finished
Glow's
Glow,
Good,
Yeah.
and I finished Orange is the New Black.
We just finished that too. Well, I finished it.
Yeah,
He hasn't watched all
I saw the
of
last
Orange.
episode of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like what I wasn't mentally prepared for, man. And I'm a huge Community fan, right? Loved it. Speaking of Donald Glover, is like it was like the third episode in or the second episode, and I'm like, those are Haney's boobs, because there was that ongoing joke on Community where like Donald Glover was like, I saw Haney's boobs, and it was really weird.
No,
'cause
you got to see him.
You get to see Annie's
she was a
boobs
wrestler.
in the show, yeah.
All right, I know what I'm
Yeah,
watching
there was
tonight.
some weird.
Glow is really good. It's actually like what's great about Netflix, man, is that they're able to like have a drama
Was that an advertisement for the
that's
new
funny the whole time, but it's not a comedy. It's just a really funny drama.
Yeah, the show's
Is that
only.
the new Tick?
It's like
Yeah.
5.5 hours.
It's the dude from Shaun of the
That's
Dead.
awful.
It's an Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
And
exclusive.
apparently it's really good.
Really?
Yeah, apparently
there's
it's got great reviews.
There's
yeah.
Tick. Jean-Claude Van Damme has a show.
Well, like I loved
Thomas
the Tick.
Jane.
Like
the
I
first-
love the cartoon and I love the live action.
There's
show.
already
Like,
there's
those are
already
my two
four. There's already
favorites.
like they did like 4 episodes in like their first season
I
to
remember
test it.
hearing
Yeah.
about it, but like I didn't see much after it afterwards. But the Tick was one of my favorite things. Like,
Yeah.
It was so.
This is a really weird ad, too. It says,
It is
explore the
odd.
variety of original series and films available on Amazon Video, from The Tick and I Love Dick to The Big Sick and Long Strange Trip.
Yeah,
Oh, they
is
did
an
it. They did it. They did a rhyming scheme.
Yeah.
Good on
I
you,
think
Amazon.
I think
Community
the I Love
Manager.
Dick one is the Thomas Jane show.
It is. Yeah.
I think I've watched part of that.
Wonder if they canceled the
actually pretty
Jean-Claude Van Damme one already. It was horrible. I watched the first episode.
Awful.
Oh, it's
Ugh.
a married couple fall
It
for
was
the same
rough.
dude. All right, interesting.
Oh,
There you go.
nope, that's not.
Oh
the
no,
show I
that's
was
the
thinking
one.
of.
That's the one with It's got a
Sarah
what's his name?
Gubbins and Jill
No,
Flashdance.
I'm thinking of the
Oh,
show
Kevin
from
Bacon.
HBO.
Bacon. The Bacon.
The Bacon.
There's another show.
Kevin
Bacon,
Like, it
Kevin's
looks-
Bacon not in
Yeah.
Flashdance.
No, not Flashdance. I meant
Footloose.
Footloose. kind
Come
of the
on
same
now.
thing. Kind of the same thing.
One's a.
He's a small
One's
town
a-
boy in a
one's a
small town
stripper.
city.
Oh my God.
They won't let him dance, and then the other
They
one's a
won't. They
stripper.
won't let him dance. The religious right
One
holds
can
him down.
argue
He
that
can't
might be the same thing,
dance.
depending on how you look at it.
Kind of.
Can't.
All right,
dance.
so the last topic, movie topic.
John Lithgow's in Footloose as the oppressive preacher. Yeah.
It's great and everything.
Yep.
Last topic. So
we can keep talking about the Netflix, or we can talk about Jurassic.
I want to talk about Jurassic. Let's
talk
end it
about-
on that.
let's
So
talk about
Jurassic
Jurassic
World. This is that Shane's Jurassic. Everyone do the Jurassic.
We have to give the picture of the poster.
Yeah.
You're clawing. You're fighting.
So yeah. So it's called Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. So it's not Jurassic World 2. It's got a subtext
I wasn't gonna
or
do it. I was
other title, which makes sense because with the original trilogy of the Jurassic Park ones, the second movie, The Lost World, was The Lost World Jurassic Park, and this one is Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom. So Jeff Goldblum's in it, and I heard that from everything that I've read, so Colin Trevorrow, who directed the first movie, who's also directing Star Wars Episode 9,
right.
he directed Jurassic World. He's the producer on Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, and Jeff Goldblum. And it kind of sounds like Jeff Goldblum came to them and was like, "Yeah, I'll do this movie."
Yeah.
And he called him up and he's like, "I'm gonna read some lines. This is what I'd like my character to be." And Colin Trevorrow was like, "Yeah, absolutely, man. Love it."
Yeah, why not?
So he's a character as an Easter egg in the first one because everyone's reading his book because it's shit falls apart. Don't have dinosaurs be a theme.
Yeah.
It's not a good look, fam. It's not a good look, says Jeff
kind of
Goldblum.
established.
So Ian Malcolm is going to be in the new one, which is exciting. Are you excited?
No.
You're not?
See his face.
I want to see it, but
that's
all
just-
all I've seen is just the
Well,
poster.
that's chaos.
I want to see more.
That's just chaos. Let me see your hand.
So
I'm gonna drop this. Okay. So Which way is it going to roll? See the imperfections and the follicles in your skin.
Are we
Tell us it's going to roll this way.
Water? What are we
No,
doing?
Tell us where we're gonna go.
Come on, you've seen Jurassic Park. No?
Oh, that's
Come on, you guys.
Are you
I've seen
flirting
this movie
with
too
him?
much.
Keep
Are
going.
you flirting with him? Excuse me?
he's
If
just
I could
getting
flirt
away.
with anyone at this table other than you, it's gonna be Mike.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Or
I'll,
Shane.
I'll
or
allow
Shane.
it. I'll
That's
allow
a
it.
given.
That's a given. So, anyways, like
We have
so-
shared a lot of things, a lot of things over the years.
Ask Play Nation.
That's a given. Yes, we like to play Assassin's Creed. You're right, Shane.
That's right.
We
Like,
are members of the Ask Play Nation.
now-
we are
now Mike has
Assassin's
to
Creed
clarify,
fans.
We are Assassin's Creed. We like to play Assassin's Creed. We're part of the Ask Play Nation.
That's the name of the group for the new Assassin's Creed game. It's Ask Play Nation.
Hashtag Ask Play Nation.
Ask Play Nation.
Oh,
It's
man.
people that like to play Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm excited for the new Assassin's Creed and Jurassic World, but who knows when it's coming out.
So what is that?
Next year, it's
18?
June 22nd,
Okay.
2018. It's like they released the poster on June 22nd of 2017, so it's exactly
So
a year
Chris
out.
Pratt's gonna have Jurassic World and Avengers in the theater, like weeks
Yeah,
apart.
yeah. He good for
him.
He filmed Infinity War and then immediately started filming Jurassic World.
Dude's gonna be drowning.
And then
in
after Jurassic World, I think
So much.
Drowning
after
in
Jurassic
money.
World, he's gonna go back and he's probably gonna film like 8 other movies.
Well, it was funny because like Anna Faris's wife used to bring all the money in. Now she doesn't work anymore, and now he's bringing in.
I don't think she needs the
all the
anymore.
money.
It's just like, royalties and shit. Like that's my face on like everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
I'm Chris Pratt.
yeah.
There I am. There I am. There I am next to The Rock. There I am. There. Those are my abs. There I am.
I'm
Those
still
are my
okay
abs.
with that. No, it's okay. I'm allowing
He's
it.
the handsomest of the Chris's, I think.
Tiff is allowing him
Me
to be
included.
everywhere.
I'm allowing him to be everywhere.
He used to be
It's a
pretty
given.
chubby in the show that he was in.
Well, he was in Parks and Rec, and he actually got cast for Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's when he all ripped.
And like he actually was filming it in London, and they kept filming Parks and Rec. So if you watch like the later seasons of Parks and Rec, they actually wrote it into the script where like Ben is like walking with him, and he's like, "So like you just lost a bunch of weight? Like just what did you do?" And like it's because he was working out for the movie, and he was like, "Oh, I just stopped drinking beer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "How much beer were you drinking?" He's like, "Probably too much." Cheers.
Garrick says that he would like to join the Ass Play Nation.
Garrick, you can be part of our Ass Play Nation.
Garrick is in.
I'm still waiting to see. I'm still
In.
waiting to see if they announce co-op for the Assassin's Creed Origins because they haven't.
So it's co-op ass play. All right.
Co-op ass play. I mean, like it takes
Well,
2 to tango,
That's how.
or just
that's
one
how it
really
is.
creative person. One really creative person for an Ass Play Nation.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Just
if you're a nation, you at least need 2 people.
Right. Or you could be
So.
a nation of one.
Could,
Right.
but
I mean, you
how,
could be
how
an
much
army
ass
of
play are
one.
you gonna
It's
get?
a very
with
lonely
one, I mean.
nation.
It's a very
If
lonely
you're
nation.
doing co-op online, you need more people to ass
Is it
play
though?
with you.
Is it a low nation? A low popularity nation? Is it?
Low population?
What the fuck are you saying?
I mean,
Think
sure.
No.
Ass
All right.
Play Nation population of 1.
On that note, we're going to say you guys make sure you follow and subscribe to us because clearly when we can drink at the table,
Oh, I get to press the button.
we're going to talk about Ass Play Nation. Shane,
Put up Ron Jeremy's face
Oh
over
wait,
there, Shane.
Snake just finished a video in time to catch us. Oh, you just
Snake
caught
Madness
us.
Production.
oh,
Just
well, you know
got
what?
us.
Make sure you catch us on, you can watch this entire episode on YouTube or it'll be on Twitch and it'll all be there. Or you can make sure that you follow us here and we'll obviously share all of these elements on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of the social media sites. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to my lovely wife,
Are you
Tiff
going to be
Toxic.
here next week, Tiff?
I don't know. Richard's gonna be
Richard
here.
Cook will be
Stay
here
tuned.
with us.
Hashtag Where's Tiff?
Hashtag Where's Tiff? Hashtag Ask Play Nation. Thank you guys for joining us.
Bye.
We love y'all.